Hello everyone, my name is Sam Martin and today I'm going to be presenting to you a how-to and behind the magic of a very simple card trick that anyone can perform. So we start off by dealing out 21 cards in 3 columns of 7 rows each, like so. So now we're going to ask the person to remember a card, and the aim of this trick is to figure out which card is theirs. So in this case, let's pretend that we've picked the Jack of Diamonds up the top. So at this stage, we don't ask them which card is theirs, we only ask them to indicate which column the card is in. So in this case, they would indicate the middle column. And after they've done so, we put all the cards back together and re-deal them in the same fashion. So now we ask them again to indicate which column it's in, and they'll indicate the middle column as we have the Jack of Diamonds here. And once again, we get all of our cards together, put them into one deck again, and deal them out in exactly the same fashion. And now once again we ask them which column is your card in. And at this point we can guarantee that the card that they have selected is going to be exactly in the middle of the column that they have selected. So we can see in this case that the Jack of Diamonds is the 4th card along in this column of 7. So now let's have a look at exactly why this trick works. So rather than the plain deck that we had before, we're going to use these red and blue cards. The red cards are going to indicate cards that we know cannot be the card that's been selected. The blue cards, on the other hand, are going to indicate cards that may potentially be the one that has been selected by the person that you're performing the trick on. Now, the first time you get them to select the card, you narrow down the cards that could potentially be the card that they have selected to one column. So let's pretend in this instance that they've selected the column on the right. The really important thing about this trick is the way that you put these cards back together. Make sure that you don't reorder them as you put them into the individual piles, and when you put the piles back together into one pile, you need to make sure that the column that contains the card that they've indicated ends up in the middle of the 2 ones that it's not in. So now we can see the potential locations of the card that they've selected. Now once again we ask them which column is their card in. So let's pretend for instance that it's ended up in the middle column. So we're left with only 3 cards, and now we can see how the trick is beginning to come together. And now we can see why the trick works. Because as we get to the final dealing of the cards, 3 potential cards are each in the middle of their respective columns. So no matter what column it ends up in at this stage, them indicating that column is going to guarantee that you know exactly where the card ends up. So in this video, we've looked at how to perform a very simple card trick that doesn't require any sleight of hand on the part of the performer, and exactly how and why this card trick works.